his class. Herod the Great and his family were some wicked Israelites.
That picture. You are what your daddy is, ain't you?
Right.
So who's giving us all this false information? So if we want to find out who's Herod's pappy, shouldn't we go to the scriptures and find it out?
Right.
Shouldn't we go to the documents that's true? Or should we just believe the lies that we've been pumped to? No. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 12 and 16. No.
Oh my goodness.
Let's just speak and see. Let's just see. Let's just see. Because the first one, this is who his pappy is. You know, if we've been taught history wrong, I'm for certain we was taught the Bible wrong.
That's right.
That's right. So
bring it out. That's right.
Why is it that the Christianity doctrine and the truth is the truth? And the truth.
For this cause, we chose Numanus, the son of Antiochus, and Antipater, the son of Jason, read, and sent them unto the Romans.
So why is they were sent? Keep reading.
To renew the amity that we had with them, and the former league.
So why is Israelite sending Antipater to the Romans? And you have to understand, it was us. Wasn't no Edom. Let me tell you something, man. Do you see where Esau dressed? Do you think he would be dressing as sharp as the Romans was dressing, man?
Bring it out.
Do you think that this man here, how many times you see him in something nice as a suit, ain't it? If this is his pappy, then ain't we going by bloodline?
Now,
read that up.
Verse back, chapter 14, verse 21. The ambassadors that were sent unto our people certified us of your glory and honor.
Read on.
Wherefore, we were glad of their coming.
We were glad of their comings. Read.
And did register.
This was a written account. Read.
The things that they spake in the council of the people.
Read on.
In this manner. Numanus, son of Antiochus, and Antipater, son of Jason, the Jews' ambassador.
What was they called?
The Jews' ambassador.
Let me tell you something, man. Israel don't like to read. Read.
Came unto us to renew the friendship they had with us.
Read on.
And it pleased the people to entertain the men honorably and to put the copy of their ambassage in public records. To the end, the people of the Laodiceans might have a memorial thereof. Furthermore, we have written a copy thereof unto Simon the high priest.
So, why is it calling them the Jews? You know, matter.
All right, Shalom. This is her one Banyasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Harakah Kodash, Ma'amah. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim, and Nagwatim, and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. Yeah, man, this that guy from what's the name? One Body and Yahweh Shai. Hey, you know, people choose whatever names they choose for their camps, but it's all about the doctrine, man. You know, it's all about the sincerity and their leadership. Now, this guy here that they have speaking, going off, he's clearly an old bottle, you know, stuck in his ways, hard-headed, stubborn, all right, probably lazy when it comes to research. Now, he probably was a novice back in the day, but just got old, all right. But now where he's going off at is clear. He's saying that Herod the Great was an Israelite. Oh my God, you know what I mean? Let me get the scripture. All right, this is Matthew 9 and 7. It says, neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break, and the wine runneth out, and the bottles perish. But they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. So this guy got to empty out everything he was learning and teach the right doctrine, man, and relearn everything, man. Become a student from the apostles. All right, now where he's going off at, he showed a lineage or a family tree of this guy Antipater, the son of Jason. All right, now I'm gonna get into the whole topic dealing with Herod thinking he was a Jew, and his dad Antipater thinking he was a Jew. All right, but where this guy is going off at is he's mixing two different Antipaters up, 20 years apart, man. It's just, that's where he's going off at. He thinks this Antipater, the son of Jason, was the father of Herod. All right, you heard it yourself. So he thinks this Antipater here is the son of Jason. He thinks that's the father of Herod the Great, the Edomite. So let's get into this now. It's clear that this chapter here is dealing with a war that happened in 144 BC. All right, 144 BC. It was the Battle of Hazer, Hazer, where Jonathan won the battle. All right, and after he won the battle, he wanted to reestablish the amity with or peace treaty with the Roman Empire and which were Edomites, and he wanted to reestablish the peace treaty with who you would call the Spartans, which were Jakes, all right, Judites. So that happened in 144 BC, where Jonathan sent two Israelites, one named Numenius, which was the son of Antiochus. Antiochus, not talking about Antiochus Epiphanes, but Antiochus, one of the servants or workers of Jonathan, that worked for Jonathan. These were Israelites. And he sent Antipater, the son of Jason, Jason being a wicked high priest, all right, that wanted to steal the office from Onias, his brother, Onias II, I think it was. And he went to Antiochus Epiphanes to try to get that office, the Greeks. All right, so he changed his name to Jason, which was like a Greek version of his name. But he had a son named Antipater, or what you would call Alexander. All right, these were just terms they was using at that time, man. You had a few Antipaters. All right, there was another Antipater that was before him. And after Antipater the Edomite, you had another Antipater. All right, but this Antipater right here is talking about Antipater, the son of Jason, and that's an Israelite. It's not the father of Herod. 20 years apart, man. This right here happened in 144 BC. It was the Battle of Hazer. Hazer. It was won by Jonathan, all right, a descendant from Judas Maccabees. Oh, I think it was his brother. All right, and what he wanted to do, Jonathan started ruling around 161 BC. All right, and after he won this battle in 144, he wanted to reestablish what Judas Maccabees established in 161 BC, which was a peace treaty between the Jews and the Romans. So let's get into it real quick, man. So this dude is clearly going off. He's clearly a false prophet. Another one bites the dust. All right, jumping out there with this new doctrine, man. Saying that Herod's an Israelite. Herod and his family was wicked Israelites. It was like, oh my goodness, man. No, Herod was an Edomite, and his family were forced under the Israelite rulership under John Hyrcanus. All right. Now, after that happened, you still had Herod the Edomite, which wanted to go back and rebuild Edom and rebuild his people. And they knew they were Edomites. but they could never be Jews. The only thing they did was get circumcised. That's it. And dealt with the laws dealing with marriage, so they could marry into our nation, which was off. All right, Herod married Aristobulus' sister Miriam, and he killed his own children. Man, he went crazy on a killing spree. He was an Edomite. All right, and then you had Herod Agrippa. You had what's his name? Antipater the Edomite. He was born in 115 BC. 110 BC. It was like 20 years later. So that's the father of Herod the Great, the Edomite. All right, and Antipater, he was known as an Edomite, and that's just it. All right, so let's get into it, man. So he's clearly going off. He thinks that this scripture right here is talking about Antipater, the father of Herod. These was two different Antipaters. Get around that one. First Maccabees 12 and 16. Let's bring out the scripture that he used. For this cause we chose Numenius, the son of Antiochus. All right, that was an Israelite. He didn't even know that. You could tell by the way he paused when they were speaking. All right, Antiochus was an Israelite that was one of the servants or workers for Jonathan, and Jonathan sent Alexander and Antiochus, or Numenius. He sent them to the Roman Empire, to the Senate, to try to talk to them and reestablish the peace treaty that Judas Maccabees established. All right, and it says, Numenius, the son of Antiochus, and Antipater, the son of Jason, and sent them unto the Romans to renew the amity that we had with them in the former league. See, in the former league, when was that? That was in 161 BC, under Antiochus Epiphanes. Under what was the name? Judas Maccabees, when he went to the Romans for help, because he heard about how powerful the Romans were and how the Romans destroyed Antiochus Epiphanes' father, Antiochus III, which made Judas Maccabees admire them and look to them for help. All right, later, after the establishment of Hanukkah and the rededication of the temple. So this was 161 BC. All right, the temple was rededicated in 164. So these were two different time periods, two different Antipaters, man. So how the hell did he get Herod being an Israelite all of a sudden? All right, trying to use this scripture. It says, we command them also to go unto you and to salute and to deliver you our letters concerning the renewing of our brotherhood. So this is talking about to the Lacedaemonians, which were Jakes, man. All right, Jews. And I'm not gonna get into that right now. I'm gonna go back one more. These dudes are tripping, man. This is First Maccabees 11 and 67. It says, as for Jonathan and his host, they pitched at the water of Gennesaret, from whence betimes in the morning they gat them to the plain of Nesser. And behold, the host of rangers met them in the plain, who have laid men in ambush for him in the mountains, came themselves over against him. So when that they lay in ambush rose about, when they that lay in ambush rose out of their places and joined battle, all that were of Jonathan's side fled, insomuch as there was not one of them left, except Mattathias, the son of Absalom, and Judas, the son of Calphi, the captains of the host. Then Jonathan rent his clothes and cast earth upon his head and prayed. Afterwards, turning again to battle, he put them to flight, and so they ran away. Now, when his own men that were fled saw this, they turned again unto him, and with him pursued them to Cades, even unto their own tents, and there they camped. So there was slain of the heathens that day about 3,000 men, but Jonathan returned to Jerusalem. All right. So that was Jonathan, man, going to war with them damn Syrians, I think it was. So, and he won that battle, and he sent out letters to the Romans after that in 144 BC. All right, that's when this happened. And he sent out letters to the Romans and to the Lacedaemonians, which you get the term the Spartans from. All right. Now, and that's just it, man. So these are two different Antipaters, man. All right, let me get something else real quick, because they were reestablishing the peace treaty that Judas Maccabees set up in 1 Maccabees chapter 8. Let's get that. Now, Judas, this 1 Maccabees chapter 8, verse 1. So this happened in 161 BC. Now, we ain't even get to John Hyrcanus and Antipater the Edomite yet. They weren't even born yet. What the hell is he talking about? They wasn't born until Antipater the Edomite was born in 115 or 110 BC. All right. And he died around the time his son came into power, around 40 something BC. 45 or so BC, man. When Julius Caesar chose Antipater the Edomite to set up governors over Jerusalem and put him over Jerusalem, man. And he set up Herod as a governor of Galilee. And then later on, they chose Herod to be ruler over Judea, king over Judah, over Jerusalem. And that's why Herod wanted to kill our king, Yahushua. They wasn't worrying about it from a spiritual view or from the way the Pharisees was viewing it, like the laws of Moses and all that. They was looking at it from a view of, yo, Herod's the king, and you saying there's a king born amongst us. And he wanted to get rid of that king. All right, that's why he wrote over the head of Yahushua, here lies the king of the Jews. Not him, but, Pilate. All right. That's what they put over his grave, or his, the cross. So that was a statement saying, yo, this is the king right here, Yahushua. But Herod thought he was king. Herod wanted to be a Jew, but he couldn't. He could never be a Jew. That's what John Hyrcanus told him. But he forced him. John Hyrcanus forced the Edomites under the rule of the laws of Moses. All right, and he forced them to be circumcised. Now let's get into this real quick. And that happened later. They wasn't even, Antipater the Edomite wasn't even born yet, man. He was born around 115 or 110 BC. All right, and John Hyrcanus, he was around 144 and all that. So let's get into it. So these are two different Antipaters, man. You got to know that this guy is talking about here. He thinks that Antipater, the son of Jason, is the father of Herod, when he's not. Antipater, the son of Jason, his real name is Alexander, and he's the son of Jason, the high priest of Judah, of Israel. And he was wicked. But you had Antipater the Edomite, born around 115 BC. He was the son of Antipas, or Herod Antipas. All right. 1 Maccabees 8:1. Now Judas had heard of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant. So Judas Maccabees, all right. This was after Hanukkah, or the rededication of the temple. So this happened around 161 BC in chapter 8. And such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them, and make a league of amity with all that came unto them. See, that's why Jonathan was reestablishing his brother's amity agreement with the Romans in chapter 12. and that they were men of great valor. It was told him also that their wars and noble acts which they had done among the Galatians, and how they had conquered them and brought them under tribute, and what they had done in the country of Spain for the winning of the mines of the silver and gold which is there, and that by their policy, patience, they had conquered all the place, though it were very far from them, and the kings also that came against them from the uttermost parts of the earth, till they had discomfited them and given them an overthrow, so that the rest did give them tribute every year. Besides this, how they had discomfited in battle Philip and Perseus, and the king of the Sittim, all right, the Grecians, man, which others that lifted up themselves against them had overcome them. How also Antiochus, the great king of Asia, the Greek kingdom that was over in the Aegean Sea or Greece, it was moved over to Syria, over Asia, all right, what you would call the Diadochi, all right, and Antiochus was one of them, Epiphanes. Now it says, how also Antiochus, the great king of Asia, that came against them in battle, having 120 elephants with horsemen and chariots, and the Grecians, they got those elephants when they was battling against what you would call the Persians, all right, and that was earlier when they was battling. What was that called, man? What was that called? All right, the Phoenician Wars. All right, that's when you had the 300 battling against the Grecians. I mean, with the Grecians against the Persians. All right, and them Edomites, and the Edomites was using elephants, and the Grecians took that on, and they used that against the Romans, but the Romans still defeated the Grecians. All right, they were going to war with each other around this time in 161 BC. It says, how also Antiochus the great, king of Asia, is really talking about Antiochus the third, that came against them in battle, having 120 elephants with horsemen and chariots, and a very great army was discomfited by them. Like the Romans was, according to Daniel chapter 7, they took over the whole world after the Greek Empire. So those are Edomites. And how they took him alive. All right, so that's it right there. Let me get to the point. All right, so that's what the Judas Maccabees made an agreement with them. All right, so he established an amity agreement, and Jonathan was just reestablishing that in 144. All right, a few years later, after he won that battle. And so he sent two Israelites, just like Judas Maccabees, he sent two Israelites as well. All right, to go to Rome. Here you go. It says right here, 1 Maccabees 8 and 7. In consideration of these things, Judas Maccabees chose Eupolemus, the son of John, the son of Echos, and Jason, the son of Eleazar, and sent them to Rome to make a league of amity and confederacy with them, and to entreat them that they would take the yoke from them, for they saw that the kingdom of the Grecians did oppress Israel with servitude. They went therefore to Rome which was a very great journey, and came into the Senate, where they spake and said, all right, and they spoke the words of of Judas Maccabees. And that's the same thing Jonathan did. He sent 2 Israelites. All right. One was named Alexander, and the other one named what is that? Numenius. Here it go, right here, I think it is. Verse 12, chapter 12, my bad. All right, so this dude's going off, man. He's another false prophet exposing himself. All right. Spiritual indecent exposure. First Maccabees 12 and 16. For this cause we chose Numenius, the son of Antiochus, and these were Israelites. Antiochus was an Israelite, a worker that worked under Jonathan. All right, they were called ambassadors, or part of the embassy. And Antipater, what you call Alexander, the son of Jason. All right, these are Greek terminologies. And Jason was a high priest of Israel, and sent them unto the Romans to renew the amity that we had with them in the former league. See that? The former league during the 161 BC with Judas Maccabees. All right, so now let's get into something else real quick. All right, I want to read this real quick. This is about John Hyrcanus. All right, he was an Israelite, a descendant of the Hasmonean dynasty. Hasmon is basically the forefather of Judas Maccabees, or Mattathias. All right, they were originally called Hasmon, now Hasmonean, paying homage to the forefather of Mattathias. All right, his name was Hasmon. So these were called the Hasmonean family, but they called Judas Maccabees because his last name meant hammer. That we called him. They called him the hammer. So it says the high priest. This was John Hyrcanus the first, prince of the Hasmonean family, born about 175 BC, around the same time Antiochus Epiphanes started ruling. All right, so that was when John Hyrcanus was even born. He was a wise and just ruler and a skillful warrior. As a young man, he distinguished himself as a general in the war against the Syrians. See, General Sendibius. All right, let's get to the point. Watch this. It says, forcibly converts the Edomites. So this is when John Hyrcanus forced those Edomites into servitude. All right. Now this was after what you would call Antipater, the son of Jason. All right, check this out. Hyrcanus, who had confirmed by the Romans, so he went to the Romans, in the possession of the important seaport of Joppa, subjugated other Syrian towns such as Berea or Aleppo. He marched against the fort of Madaba on the banks of the Jordan, which had always been hostile to the Hasmoneans, and conquered it after a 6-month siege. He also conquered the town of Samaria on the Sea of Galilee, of special importance on account of its geographical position. He then proceeded against the Samaritans, who had always sided with the enemies of the Jews. He conquered Shechem, one of the most important towns of Samaria, and destroyed the temple of Mount Gerizim. All right, around 120 BC in December. So this was later, man. This was around 120. You know, after victoriously ending the war in Samaria, he proceeded to subdue the Edomites, always a menace to the southern parts of his domains. With funds which he is said to have obtained from David's sepulchre, he hired foreign troops, dismantled Adora and Marissa, the strong places of Edom and forced the Edomites to accept the Jewish religion and submit to circumcision. And that's when dumbass Herod started thinking that he was a Jew. He could never be a Jew. All right, even Agrippa thought that he could probably be a Jew when they could never be that, man. You have to be an Israelite to be a Jew. All right. This is the first instance of forcible conversion into Jewish history. In this, John Hyrcanus allowed his zeal for the Jewish cause to lead him to take a step which later wrought harm for the Edomite. For to the Edomites belonged the family of the Herodians. Read that again. All right. In this, Hyrcanus allowed his zeal for Israelite cause to lead him to take a step which later brought harm. For to the Edomites belonged the family of the Herodians, who were to bring about the ruin of the Hasmoneans. And that's what they did through Herod, the devil, the Edomite. They played us close. And Antipater, the Edomite, the second, was all playing John Hyrcanus the second close. And then you had Herod the Edomite playing close to Aristobulus and Miriam. Then he married into their family just to destroy it. All right. And went on a killing spree. The Samaritans, who still held their strongly fortified metropolis of Samaria with a part of Jezreel, remained hostile toward the Jews. For this reason, Hyrcanus renewed his attack upon them. All right, so basically, that's when he forced those Edomites under Jewish rulership, man, Israelite rulership. He says, unto the Edomites belong the family of the Herodians. See that right there? See that? All right. And through them, you get what? Herod the devil, Herod the Edomite. Now check this out real quick. All right. Now this is Antipater the Idumean. And it says what? We were just reading about what? 161, 144, when Antipater, the son of Jason, that this guy said was the father of Herod, which he's not. He was saying that that was Antipater the Edomite. Nope. This Antipater the Edomite, the Idumean, was born 20 years later or so. It says right here, Antipater the first, the Idumean, which means Edom, born 113 or 14 BCE. And he died around 43 BCE. So that was a little bit after Herod got it, or before Herod got into power, around 37 BCE. Was the founder of the Herodian dynasty, the father of Herod the Great. According to Josephus, he was the son of Antipas, not the son of Jason. All right, again, according to Josephus, he was the son of Antipas, or Herod Antipas, and had formerly held that name. A native of Edom, southeast of Judah, between the Dead Sea and Gulf of the Aqaba. All right. Now check this out. So that's later, right? Go right here. It says right here. Instead, Josephus explains that Antipater's family converted to Judaism. So he could never be a Jew, man. They converted. You can never be a convert. You gotta be an Israelite that convert. To convert means to return to something. You can never return to something you were never part of. All right, converted to Judaism during the forced conversion by the Sadducee influenced Hasmonean leader. So he was kind of like a Greek Israelite. All right, John Hyrcanus, 134 or 104 BCE. All right. So Antipater's family converted to Judaism. He was one of those people that one of those Edomites that was under forced conversion to Judaism under, or Israel being to our customs under John Hyrcanus the first. All right, Hyrcanus threatened that any Edomite who wished to maintain their land would need to be circumcised and enter into the tradition of the Jews. Josephus acknowledges Herod as being by birth a Jew. All right, so it's basically saying he was an Edomite that was born circumcised. That's just it, man. And Antipater as being of the same people with the Jews. Nevertheless, this influential family came to be resented by many Jews for their Edomite ancestry. See that, man? So they knew that these were Edomites, and they was always resented for that. But this guy, this false teacher, trying to put Herod in with us and say that he was an Israelite. No. Nevertheless, this influential family came to be resented. So the Herodian dynasty was resented by many Jews or Israelites for their Edomite ancestry, a fact used by the Hasmoneans and the supporters against them as such in a polemic against Herod to discredit him in the eyes of the Romans as unfit to become king of the Jews. And that's when he snuck his way in there, became king of the Jews, marrying into the family. Antigonus, the Hasmonean, is quoted by Josephus as referring to Herod as no more than a private man and an Edomite, a half-Jew. So let's hear what this guy says again.
Today's class, Herod the Great and his family were some wicked Israelites. First back, chapter 14, verse 21. The ambassadors that were sent unto our people certified us of your glory and honor.
Read on.
Wherefore we were glad of their coming.
We were glad of their comings. Read.
And did register.
This was a written account. Read.
The things that they spake in the council of the people.
Read on.
In this manner. Numenius, son of Antiochus, and Antipater, son of Jason, the Jews' ambassador.
What was that called?
The Jews' ambassador.
Let me tell you something, man. Israel don't like to read. Read.
Came unto us to renew the friendship they had with us.
Read on.
And it pleased the people to entertain the men honorably and to put the copy of their ambassage in public records. To the end, the people of the Laodiceans might have a memorial thereof. Furthermore, we have written a copy thereof unto Simon the high priest.
So, why is it calling them the Jews? You know, matter